All right, Shalom Akim, Shabbat Shalom. This is your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Come with another lesson through the Spirit. All right, Lord willing, be edifying to the Lord's elect. And before I get started with this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and who teach well. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwath that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. You Israelite foreigners out there who live among the heathen and who look like those heathen nations, but your lineage goes back to the progenitors of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel through the line of your fathers. I want to say peace and blessings to you all, Barakathum. All right, so this may be my last video for the night. You know what I'm saying? Just to close out the Shabbat. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot going on, man. A lot going on. All right, so this is gonna be another episode of Measuring the Times. You know what I'm saying? And as our Apostle Tahar says, you know what I'm saying? If you miss a day, you miss a lot. Okay? And as a watchman, you know what I'm saying? As the watchman, we're supposed to constantly remain on our watch, man, and remain occupied in prophecy. All right? So if we miss a day, man, we truly are missing a lot. Okay? Because a lot can happen within 24 hours. So let's get this started in 2nd Esdras chapter 9. Starting at verse 1, it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. All right. So, pretty much, I want to see where I'm going to start this off at, man. Like I said, it's a shit ton of stuff that's going on, man. All of that within 24 hours. I guess we're going to start with the the biggest breaking news that's happening right now. All right. So let's go to this article real quick. Bear with me. All right. This is from RT, RT.com. It reads, Israel attacks Damascus. All right. The IDF has struck the defense ministry as violence escalates across Druze-populated areas of Syria. Israel attacked the headquarters of the Syrian military and locations near the presidential palace in Damascus on Wednesday. The strike, broadcast live on the Iranian television channel, was carried out after West Jerusalem issued warnings of quote-unquote painful blows in response to Syrian military operations targeting the Druze ethnic minority. All right. Now, if you understand how these devils work, man, all right, they'll come with the pre-planned excuse. All right, the pre-planned excuse before they attack. It's the same thing that's gone down, you know what I'm saying, throughout the years. All right. So let me get this started. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 17, verse 1. It reads, The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. All right. Truly, the Lord is mustering the host of the battle, man. All right. It says violent clashes have been going on for several days in the city of Sweda, involving Syrian security forces supported by Deborah groups and Druze militants. In an effort to protect the latter, the Israeli military conducted airstrikes on southern Syria. Wednesday's strikes also hit the predominantly Druze city of Sweda, where a ceasefire announced the previous evening swiftly collapsed into a fourth day of fighting. Okay? So I mentioned this precept. Let me grab this here. In Isaiah chapter 13. All right, Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4. It reads, "The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations, gathered together. The Lord Yahweh Tazabawath mustereth the hosts of the battle." Okay, so this is on one front. All right, one front that we're looking at, man. Okay, as our Apostle Tahar had said, keep your eyes peeled on the Levant region. Okay, let me get this here. Next article. Bear with me. All right. It's from the same source, RT.com. It reads, "The battle for the Middle East is going global." All right. And in actual fact, it's not called the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? To be completely accurate, it's called West Asia. All right. The Middle East was created, you know what I'm saying, in order to give you a misconception of, a prophecy. All right. Because things would be taking place within West Asia. All right. The scriptures call it the Valley of Jehoshaphat. In the Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat. All right. Which means the Lord's judgment. So let's go to Joel. And Salakia, forgive me for my voice. All right, so this is Joel chapter 3 and verse 2. It reads, "I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." All right. So what this is talking about, it's talking about the Lord gathering all these nations, like I read in Isaiah the 13th chapter. All right. That he is mustering the host of the battle. So what's going to happen? Salakia, bear with me. All right, Salakia for that. Throat dry. Okay, so let me see. All right, so as I brought out earlier, like I said, the Lord is mustering up the host of the battle. You know what I'm saying? And he's preparing for all these nations to come down into this one spot. All right, he's gathering all these nations to come to this very spot here. All right, in the Levant region. Okay, that's where you see you know what I'm saying, the around the region of the UAE, you know what I'm saying, Qatar. All right, and these other spots, you know what I'm saying, over in West Asia. It says the various regional conflicts are increasingly becoming a standoff between the West and the global South. It reads, global events increasingly reflect the growing confrontation between the Western Bloc, led by the U.S. and its allies, all right, the whore and the beast that she rides upon, right, written of in Revelation the 17th chapter. Okay, and then it says, and the countries of the so-called world majority coalescing around BRICS. Okay, BRICS. I'm looking at an article right here. Why Trump sees BRICS as a threat. Okay? And it's not just him. It's not him that sees this thing as a threat, man. All right? The this is going to play out in how the world shifts, gradually shifts away from America. As a matter of fact, let me get this in Obadiah real quick. All right. Obadiah 1:7. It reads, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. All right. This is talking about America. All right. America's allies. Okay. They're going to fall out, man. They're going to leave her. You see what I'm saying? America is about to lose all of its allies. You see what I'm saying? Why is that? Well, when you see the way that America has been moving, all right, as of late, towards its own allies, all these EU nations, you know what I'm saying, and NATO is looking at America with a side eye. You see what I'm saying? So the beast is starting to hate the whore. What is the beast? The beast is the EU and NATO. All right? The whore is America that rides upon that beast. You see what I'm saying? Who has veto power in the in the EU? You know what I'm saying? Who's at the helm of NATO? It's America. You see? So let me get that. Revelation 17. All right. So this is Revelation chapter 17. I'll hit it from the top. It reads, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. All right. That waters, the word for waters is going into other nations. Many nations. America is at the helm of all these different nations. All right. If it's a country that America doesn't like, or America doesn't approve of, or if this particular nation has resources that America wants, what happens? Here comes democracy. You see what I'm saying? This is the whore that sits upon many waters. All right. Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. All these different nations that have taken on the philosophies of America. All right. They call it westernization. All right. So that's what this is talking about. So continuing with the article. Oh, as a matter of fact, before I continue, let me get to the point here in Revelation 17. All right. Revelation chapter 17 and verse 12. And it reads, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings, 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with them are called and chosen and faithful. All right, that's going into when Yahushua returns. All these nations are going to turn and try to fight with our Lord Yahushua, and the elect are going to be revealed. You know what I'm saying? And that's talking about you Israelites, the elect of the nation of Israel, starting with the 144,000. Okay, that's in Revelation the 7th chapter. All right. In verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, like I told you earlier. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. All right, the 10 horns is talking about EU and NATO. Okay, they shall hate the whore. Look at what's going on with Germany right now. Germany is starting to back up away from America. Look at France. Look at UK. They're starting to back away from America. Okay, they don't agree anymore. All right, they're at odds. You see, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right, by the end of this, all of their nukes are going to be aimed at America. You see what I'm saying? And this is going to be that place of great fire. When it's talking about that lake of fire, that's what it's talking about. When this place is burning with nuclear fire, it's going to be as a lake of fire. And the elect are going to have a front row seat up in the chariots to see it from an aerial perspective. Excuse me. All right. So it says this geopolitical tension is particularly evident against the backdrop of escalating conflicts in the Middle East, the so-called Middle East, where the actions of the U.S. and Israel are seen as manifestations of Western hegemony, while BRICS nations and their partners are increasingly positioning themselves as defenders of multipolarity, sovereignty, and a just international order. Okay? On July 7th, U.S. President Donald Trump hosted Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. The two leaders discussed two major issues: the upcoming negotiations with Iran and the controversial initiative to relocate Palestinians from Gaza. These topics underscored Washington and West Jerusalem's efforts to reshape the so-called Middle East security architecture, framed under the banner of offering a better future, quote unquote, yet unfolding amid growing accusations of violations of international law and indeed human rights. You see what I'm saying? So these people are trying to position themselves to be seen as the heroes, when in actual fact the world is seeing them as the villains that they are. Let's go here to Isaiah. All right, and forgive me if I sound like I'm moving fast. I'm trying to get this through, because I got a lot more to show you. All right. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 32. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 5. It reads, "The vile person shall no more be called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful." Okay? And as I've gotten into it before, that word for liberal, okay, it goes into generous or noble. You see what I'm saying? So the vile person shall no more be called noble or generous, you know what I'm saying, or kind. All right, the world is seeing America for what it truly is, an oppressive system. You see what I'm saying? And who controls the reins are these Amalekites, these people who call themselves JOOs. Verse 6, it reads, "For the vile person will speak villainy. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail." Okay? So the world is able to see, all right, this vile villain, you know what I'm saying, for who he truly is. All right? So let's go to another article real quick. All right? Bear with me. All right? So this article comes from shtfplan.com, and the title, reads, threatening the Russians with an ultimatum will backfire severely and will set the stage for nuclear war. All right. Putin has just warned that your boy Trump is marching towards World War III. You know what I'm saying? But check this out. It reads, so is this how it all ends? I don't even know how to describe the emotions that I'm feeling right now. There was so much hope a few months ago that there would be peace. But both sides appear completely uninterested in making substantial compromises at this point. Instead, both sides are poised to dramatically escalate the war. All right, and this is typically coming from someone who doesn't understand, you know what I'm saying, who doesn't understand the geopolitical tensions that have been rising since 2014. All right, but in any case, let's get this precept here. All right. Let's see. Let's go to. I think it's. Let's stay in Isaiah. Isaiah chapter. Oh, Swaki. Isaiah chapter 48. Let's go to chapter 48 and hit verse 22. All right, Isaiah 48 and 22 reads, there is no peace, saith the Lord Yahweh, unto the wicked. There is no peace. There is no peace. You need to understand what this is all about, man. The Lord is mustering the hosts of the battle. All right, the Lord is setting all the pieces in place. You see? So continuing, it reads, if we continue going down this path, it isn't going to end well. For decades, our leaders have been conducting war game scenarios in which a conflict in Ukraine leads to a nuclear war. Now, a conflict in Ukraine could lead to a nuclear war for real. For real. All right? I feel like I'm watching a slow motion train wreck happening without any way to stop it. It really is quite a sickening feeling, and it may, it may feel surreal to most people, man. All right, for those who don't understand prophecy, you see what I'm saying? So let me get this in Luke. All right, this is Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21, and let's see. So this is Luke chapter 21 and verse 9. It says, but when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. All right, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. You see what I'm saying? Why? It's because before World War III concludes, before World War III reaches its climax, there's another prophecy that must take place first. And that prophecy is going to be the implementation of the MOTB that's written of in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. Before this war reaches its climax, that has to happen first. Where everyone has to be under this new surveillance system. All right, where you have to implement or have an implanted device, a subdermal device underneath the skin. You see what I'm saying? All right, and that will encompass the hour of temptation. All of this has to take place within Jacob's trouble. All right. So what is Jacob's trouble, man? Jacob's trouble is when all hell break loose. You know what I'm saying? When all hell breaks loose, you know what I'm saying? Just putting it Putting it in simplest terms, when all hell breaks loose and there's no food, no water, all right, it's chaos in the streets. It's civil war. You know what I'm saying? It's race wars. It's you know what I'm saying? There's no food on the shelves. You know what I'm saying? That's what we talking about when Jacob's trouble hits and there's martial law everywhere. Okay? That has to take place before this war reaches its climax. You see? So that's what the Lord meant when he said, the end is not by and by, the end is not yet. Okay? It says, then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. All right? And let me get this, and great earthquakes, verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in the diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights. So, diverse places full of earthquakes, okay, and famines. Like I just said, there's not going to be food. There's not going to be water. All right, no provisions or anything. Pharmacies closed up. You know what I'm saying? Supermarkets completely looted. Okay, and pestilences. All right. Expect to see another event, just like the event of 2020. Expect to see that, but on a higher scale, a scale unlike you've ever seen before. You see what I'm saying? So earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. All right, great signs shall there be from heaven, man. All right. So let's break that down. Let's break that down real quick. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Check this out. This is breaking news today. Powerful 7.3 magnitude earthquake near Alaska triggers a tsunami warning. And at the same time, there's a volcano on the coast of Alaska. You see what I'm saying? All of these things seismologists are worried about. All right, because what's the scripture say? We just read it. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. All right. It says a powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake struck off the coast of Alaska, prompting immediate tsunami warnings for coastal areas of Alaska Peninsula and parts of South, Central, and Southwest Alaska. The earthquake, centered approximately 50 miles south of Sandpoint, Alaska, occurred at 23. What am I doing? Salakia. Occurred at 12:38 p.m. local time. According to the U.S. Geological Survey. The National Weather Service's Pacific Tsunami Warning Center swiftly issued alerts urging residents in affected areas to evacuate to higher ground. All right. So that's what we're talking about, man. It says the tectonic activity makes Alaska prone to significant earthquakes, with magnitudes between 7 to 7.9 considered highly dangerous, according to the USGS. The earthquake's proximity to the Alaska Maritime National Wildlife Refuge and its depth contributed to the potential for tsunami activity. All right. So let me read that again. Verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. Check this out. All right. It says, mark your calendars. On July the 16th, 2025, which is today, the moon dances near Saturn and Neptune. Catch Saturn by eye and catch Neptune by scope after 9 p.m. Again, Luke chapter 21 and verse 11, great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. You see? So all of this is prophecy. All of this is prophecy, man. You see what I'm saying? All of these things that I've been explaining, that I've been showing you, okay? War in Damascus. Damascus just got hit. You know what I'm saying? The BRICS nations are gathering all these other nations and enticing America's allies to turn against her. You see what I'm saying? All of this is prophecy. All right? Trump threatening Putin. You see what I'm saying? No peace. Earthquakes everywhere. Floods in multiple places, man. You see what I'm saying? Either it be man-made or not. This is all the Lord, man, because man's goings are of the Lord. How then can a man know his own way? You see what I'm saying? Roughly paraphrasing. As a matter of fact, let me grab that. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs chapter 21. Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 24. It reads, man's goings are of the Lord Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? You see what I'm saying? Remember, the scriptures say in the book of Job, the deceived and the deceiver are his. All right? Another article, real quick. All right? This is from endtimeheadlines.org. It reads, fears of World War III as Trump orders Australia and Japan to get ready for war with China. You see what's happening here? All right? It's war everywhere. All right? The Lord has mustered the host of the battle. Let's go back to Joel. All right, this is Joel chapter 3 once again. Now let's go down to verse 9. Joel chapter 3 verse 9, it reads, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves, and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. You see? This is that time, man. This is the time. There's a time for peace, there's a time for war, and this is the time for war. You see what I'm saying? And the Lord is bringing that to fruition. It says tensions in the Indo-Pacific region have escalated, with the United States reportedly urging its key allies, Japan and Australia, to bolster their defenses in preparation for a potential conflict with China over Taiwan. All right? You got this situation where Trump is he's within a quagmire, I believe they call it, you know what I'm saying? All right? Where he has to deal with Russia and Ukraine. He's actively threatening Russia. You see what I'm saying? While he's arming Ukraine. Then he has to deal with Israel, currently going against Iran, going against Libya, going against Syria. They just attacked Damascus right today. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, the whole Muslim world is gathering against these Amalekites. All right. So, you know what I'm saying, America is caught between that. And then at any day, China can overtake Taiwan. Now, what makes you think, because you remember, we just read Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7. What makes you think America's allies are going to comply with this? What makes you think America's allies are going to stick around? You see what I'm saying? Because remember, Australia is still under the UK. And the UK is starting to distance itself from America. Right? And then you look at Japan. Do you think that Japan forgot what America did with Hiroshima and Nagasaki? No. No. And this is a military term known as blowback. What America does abroad, all right, will have repercussions. What happens when America's dollar breaks off? You see what I'm saying? What happens when all these BRICS nations completely turn against the dollar and the US dollar is rendered obsolete? That means that America is through. And there's no more power. There's no more influence. So why would Australia want to stay? Why would Japan want to stick around? Why would Germany stick around? You see what I'm saying? Why would New Zealand stick around? Why would Canada? You see what I'm saying? America is literally cussing out all of its allies. Why would they stick around? You see? It says, according to a recent report by the Daily Express US, this move comes as part of a broader strategy to counter China's growing military presence and assertive actions in the region. The report highlights that tensions have escalated since late 2020 due to China's gray zone tactics, including intensified military drills near Taiwan and an increase in Chinese military aircraft and naval presence in the area. These actions have raised concerns amongst U.S. officials, prompting calls for Pacific allies to strengthen their military capabilities to address the growing threat posed by Beijing. All right. A Financial Times report, as cited by the Daily Express US, notes that the United States remains committed to defending Taiwan, but expects regional allies like Japan and Australia to be prepared to share the burden in the event of war. All right. Now, what makes you think that these allies would trust America? Look at what happened with Ukraine. You see what I'm saying? Trump cut off Ukraine cold turkey, and all these allies of America was looking sideways like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Now you're leaving us alone to defend Ukraine by ourselves. All right. Trump has shown himself to be fickle. America has shown herself to be fickle. You see what I'm saying? Let me get this in Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 6. It reads, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad." All right? All these nations have had dealings with America. And they were sweet at first, but now it's turned sour. And these nations are turning away. You see what I'm saying? It's like a harlot that's got gonorrhea. Oh, she's got herpes or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And all these other nations is like, oh nah, man. Nah, you was a fine young piece when you was in your prime, you know what I'm saying? But nah, that ain't gonna work no more, sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? So this is where we at. This is where we at in prophecy. All right? And we're reaching the conclusion. All right? But World War III is inevitable. It will happen. Let's go to Zephaniah, I believe. Zephaniah. All right, Zephaniah chapter 3 and verse 8. It reads, Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather all the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. While these nations are fighting each other, because they will inevitably end up in the so-called Middle East, which is West Asia. They are all going to end up over there, and they're going to be fighting each other. You see what I'm saying? And during this conflict, when World War III is commencing, that's when Yahweh Shai will return. Right? As a matter of fact, let me get that here in 2nd Esdras. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 13. And let's read let's get to the point. All right. 2nd Esdras chapter 13 and verse 29. It reads, Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. That's talking about the elect of the nation of Israel. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Indians, Hispanics, and you Israelite foreigners that's been scattered around the planet. You see what I'm saying? And amongst all these nations. All right. Verse 30. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. All right. Everyone's going to be shocked when they see him. Everyone's going to be shocked when he comes in that father ship, and it's going to look like Independence Day. Verse 31. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. All right, this is in the midst of World War III. All these nations are fighting each other. You see what I'm saying? Verse 32. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, that's Yahweh Shai, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. All right. And when was he ascending? He ascended in the book of Acts, the 1st chapter. All right. Verse 33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. When Yahweh Shai returns in that massive father ship with the armada of all these angels in what you call UFOs, all right, it's going to be an invasion. You see what I'm saying? And all these nations, China, Russia, America, India, Pakistan, all these different nations are going to stop. They're going to stop fighting each other, and then they're going to turn towards him, and they're going to fight him. You see? Again, verse 33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. They're going to try and fight the Lord, and it's going to be an absolute bloodbath. The Lord is going to destroy them all. You see what I'm saying? Let's see. Let's go here. Let's go here to the book of Habakkuk. All right. This is the book of Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 16. As a matter of fact, let me get you a nice illustration. Check this out. All right. All right. So this is the book of Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 16. When I heard, my belly trembled, my lips quivered at the voice, rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh unto the people, he will invade them with his troops. This is how the Lord Yahushua is going to return back. In that massive cloud, that chariot, with the whole host of heaven, with the innumerable angels. And while he's destroying all these troops in the valley of Jehoshaphat, he's going to send all his angels to go and gather the elect. Let's prove that. You see what I'm saying? So rejoice, you Israelites. You know what I'm saying? It's time for you to get excited. All right? Those of the hopeful elect, man, because we almost out of here. We almost out of here. The Lord's coming back for his people, man. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 30. It reads, let's start at verse 29. It reads, immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. You see what I'm saying? So much can happen within 24 hours. So this has been your brother Zakaria Allah, branched out here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I pray this lesson was edifying to the Lord's elect of the nation of Israel. And in closing, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakar, Quadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and who teach well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.